Hello and welcome to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Counterpart, Season 2, Episode 5, Shadow Puppets. Sorry for the delay there. Had a little bit of technical difficulties. Had to reboot, and it wasn't cooperating with me there, my computer, at the moment. So, I'm back. Oh, what'd you guys think of this one? This one was actually pretty damn good. We got a lot of information, and I now have a lot more new theories that have come up as a result. So, before we get started, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode, go and see the episode. Come on back. This will be a video. You can watch it later. And also, put stuff down in the comments, all that kind of stuff as well. So, yeah, this is on Starz, by the way. Starz is not the best place in the world to have series. They don't do any advertising, kind of like Hulu. I'm kind of worried about this show. I know a lot of other people are as well, especially after what happened with Ash vs. Evil Dead, them not really promoting this, promoting any of their sci-fi stuff, any of their series. And I'm hoping this is not the last season of this, because good goddamn, this is actually getting really good. But the way they sped things up in this episode, I'm starting to wonder if they're trying to get to a ending sooner rather than later. Yeah. So let's get started. So we saw last week Ian was in some restaurant stalking a woman. We didn't know who this mystery woman was. And we find out this week that Ian is not really Ian. He is a man named Wesley Pierce. Pierce is from the Alpha universe. He's been over in the Prime universe for 10 years. And that woman, he was married in the Alpha universe, and I guess she died. And that was her counterpart, her Prime. And that was part of his deal with management, to be able to live in the Prime universe. Was he was supposed to have no contact with any version of his family from the others, from the Alpha side and the Prime side, which he was violating. So the guys who captured him in the last episode, in episode 4, at the very end, work for management, and they know exactly who he is. They have pictures of him. They've been surveilling him, and tell him, you know what? You need to go and bring us Emily Burton, and otherwise your entire world's going to come crashing down, is what's going to happen. Yeah, otherwise your special arrangement is done. Which we don't know what that special arrangement is, other than he gets to live over here, over in the Prime universe, I should say, or supposedly the Alpha universe, and they're the Prime universe. So Quail, in the meantime, is freaking the fuck out because of, Lambert being down in holding. And he also doesn't see Howard Prime in the office, so he's trying to figure out what the hell. He needs somebody to talk to, because this is not his forte. He is not a spy, honestly. Very, very bad situation that he's in. So he goes down to the basement, of course, and talks to Lambert. We still don't know which version of Lambert this is, if this is Alpha or Prime. I'm pretty sure it's Alpha, because the Lambert down there says that his other really had a soft spot for Claire, and he didn't care for her. So his other was the one that mainly talked to Claire, and she was a Prime. So, and I think he was a Prime as well. But he basically says he can be bought. His silence can be bought for £2 million. And as he puts in the note, that's 6 zeros, dear. In the meantime, Naya walks in and says, "Oh, I didn't know we were having a meeting." He goes, "No, I just came down here just to, see what was going on," kind of thing. And Lambert, being who he is, the narcissist that he is, goes through the exact same routine about getting a writing implement, that he won't stab himself. He does the exact same line on Naya and says, "I'll give you the entire list of Indigo people that are over here, including Shadow's name, for a price." And he goes, "Here's my price," and writes it down and hands it back. And Naya's like, "I don't know if we have that much money at all." And what's the one for exactly? The one's just, because. Yeah, it goes to the highest bidder. That's right. Yeah, Lambert is sleazy, and I love how he says, everyone freaks out when they meet their other because their other is slightly different and just kind of weirds them out. And he goes, "We had no such compulsion. It didn't happen to us." He goes, "Because we were so alike that we got along well." And yeah, it was just very, very weird. Um, so Naya and Quail go outside, of the room, the little closet that he's being kept in. And Naya said she's been talking to Emily Alpha, and that Shadow is a woman. And so they know that Lambert is in Shadow. That that now I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. Who got killed in last season is not Shadow. So that they are, basically looking for a woman at this point. And Quail wants to keep other departments out of this whole deal. And he suggests using precious gems from the confiscation because they're right down there in the confiscation rooms where they've confiscated all the goods that have contraband across the bridge. Yeah, I was suspecting the secretary as well, Mui Finobi, so we'll get to that in a little bit. So they're going to use those gems, those precious gems that are in confiscation, to pay off Lambert to get the listing of all those Indigo agents. In the meantime, Emily Prime has tracked down Mira's operative out to a field and sees Mira out there as well. And it's like, holy shit, I need Ian now. And she's like calling him like, where the hell are you? Not knowing that he is, being held by management goons at the moment and being questioned, and that he's supposed to be bringing her in. That Ian's supposed to be bringing Emily in, thanks to management at this point. Quail Prime, in the meantime, has been watching the same game of soccer, or football, as they say across the pond, for years. And he has determined that was their diverging point, is that it was a game that he was there as a kid, and he went there with his father. It wasn't with his brother. He was just him in the middle of the week for no good reason whatsoever. It wasn't his birthday. I guess his father was kind of an asshole. And he says the difference being that the game on the Prime side, they lost. His team lost because the guy tripped and missed a shot. And this is the exact time, he thinks, when he had gone to the bathroom by himself because his dad didn't want to miss the game. And he freaked out and had an episode, as he said, a panic attack, where they called an ambulance and everything. And he said because the crowd went hushed, quiet. And then you can hear a noise in the Prime game, but you don't hear it in the Alpha game. And that's where he thinks the divergence happened, because the Alpha version of Quail didn't freak out coming back from the bathroom. And that's why he keeps watching it over and over and over again, looking for that. He's listening to the exact same spot. And really, really kind of weird that he's now taking on Yannick's obsession, if you will, for finding out where the divergence of people has happened. Claire, in the meantime, Quail Alpha is calls in Howard Prime, tell him to go and get the gems from lockup, from the confiscation room, and he actually writes him a note as he's talking to him, and says that Lambert is downstairs in the confiscation room with 5 guards. He needs to grab a gun from the confiscation room and kill Lambert and get it over with, and all the guards too while you're at it, if you can, because just so you're here. And Howard now at this point is pretty fucking pissed. You can tell he's visibly pissed at this point. Claire, in the meantime, meets up with Spencer. She's in a shop, and this woman comes up and goes, "Oh, what a lovely baby!" And she recognizes the woman as one of the operatives, and she says, "Well, what's his name?" "Spencer." She goes, "Oh, Spencer, I know a Spencer." And she hands her something. It's basically a meeting for her and Spencer, and they meet outside, and he tells her that Lambert has been captured and has already named his price. So they have a mole on the inside, obviously, and they're saying, okay, it's going to be taken care of, but it doesn't really make any difference anyway, because in the next couple of days, something big is going to happen. We don't know what. So whatever this something big is, this thing that Indigo has been planning for a while, is about to go down within the next couple of days. So yeah, shit is going to get real in a little bit. Howard Prime, in the meantime, goes to lock up, and sorry about that. I couldn't read my notes all of a sudden. So Howard Prime goes down to the lockup there to go and get the gems, and the guy who is running the clerk's office knows Howard Alpha, actually worked with Howard Alpha for years, and starts regaling him about this tale of his son who's getting married, and all this stuff. And basically he just doesn't care. He just wants to get the gems, get the gun, get the hell out. And this guy is trying to make small talk and just and he's like, I need to get this now. My boss is in a hurry. Come on, get going, And Brody is the guy's name, by the way. He's in a wheelchair and just taking his sweet ass time. In the meantime, upstairs, Naya comes over to Quayle and goes, hey, you know what? We need to go down and talk to Lambert again and find out, before we actually pay him off, that everything's going to be good. And Quayle's like, now? Right now? I'm in the middle of writing a very slow letter. Can you wait until I'm done? And then he tries calling Brody's office. And of course, Brody's like, no one important ever calls me, and doesn't want to answer the phone. So, of course, Howard, at this point, Howard Prime has grabbed a gun from lockup as well as the gems. He finally gets the gems from Brody, gets the hell out of there, and he's very gruff with him. And Brody's a little bit pissed at him at this point, too. And we see them, Quayle and Naya going down to the lockup, and the guards are down. They're dead. And they go into the room. The other guards are dead, and Lambert is dead at this point. We see all of a sudden Howard pop out into the hallway, and he sees the guards down outside the door, and he's like, oh, shit. And he pulls a tag off the gun, loads it, goes into the stairwell, and starts going up the stairwell to see who did it, because it obviously wasn't him that killed Lambert. And at this point, he goes into the bathroom, stashes the gun as the building goes into lockdown, and no one can leave the building. Essentially, everyone's there until everyone can get checked out, and there's a full investigation underway. So Quayle, so everyone has a script that they're supposed to read to their loved ones. They get one phone call to tell people that they're not going to be home for that until later on in the evening. And they all have a script, and they have to be supervised when they're calling out. So Quayle, when Howard Prime comes in to make his phone call to Emily, Quayle takes over and then tells, Howard exactly what happened. And that Emily was Naya's source, that basically they're fucked. And, Howard tells him, well, you know what? If they cleared out Lambert, that means they're burning everybody, anybody that is of no importance to them whatsoever. He goes, that means you too, essentially. So that, you might as well watch your back, because your wife's probably going to kill you, and she's probably dead as well. So good luck with that. And he goes, and this is taking too long, I got to get going. He's very gruff with everybody at this point. He really wants to get the hell out. And Quayle also gets interrogated by Naya, and we see his safe get opened up, where that has his recording of the confession that Claire is, Shadow, and that tape is missing. Luckily, we don't know where it's gone, but he wasn't the one who did it. So he has that look of surprise on his face as well. Brody ends up reporting the missing gun to Naya, and he says he knows who did it. And that's, of course, when we cut back over to the Prime universe and Howard Alpha talking to Yannick. And Howard realizes that Yannick actually lives with everybody down below. And he lives with his subjects. And it's his penance for being one of the scientists that created the two worlds. Basically, he and the other scientists discovered the other universe. And he said his other was the one that was aggressive enough to open up the bridge between those two worlds. And that's the reason why he's down there as part of his penance, to pay for his other's crimes, I think is what it is. It's very weird. So we also see Mira up top starting the assault on Echo. They kill the outside guard, and we see the inside guard, who we'd seen last episode, who knew Mira, starting to shut off all these security cameras at this point. And I mean, everything starts moving pretty fast as around this point as well. Yeah, Mufinobi says what's interesting is that they said they discovered another world, but Mira did say to end the experiment. That's because Yannick said he goes, we thought about going to this other world, but I didn't. But that didn't mean that my other wasn't so restrained, as he put it. So his other was the one that actually made that tunnel between the two worlds, is what was going on. And it makes sense. So we have Naya calling in Howard Prime to talk confidentially. She's got curtains all across the room and basically says, hey, you know what? You ascended really, really fast thanks to Peter Quayle. She goes, he has something on you, doesn't he? He's actually forcing you. You're okay. You can tell me about this. She goes, I just don't see you being an operative this early on, being that you were essentially a clerk, a file clerk for 30 years. And then all of a sudden you're an agent. She goes, I don't believe it. So what does Quayle have on you? You can tell me. You can talk to me. And she says, is he coercing you to kill Lambert and the guards? Did he coerce you into doing it? Because that would take a lot of skill, especially for somebody at the last minute to do this. And he's denying it pretty much all the time. In the meantime, the inside man in Echo Prison has taken Peter Quayle's tapes and has hidden them. And Quayle Prime, I should say. Basically, because it's going to start some shit going on down there. And Yannick ends up telling Howard Alpha about the team that discovered the other universe and how his other was responsible for the crossing, of course. And we see the team. He has a photo of the team, and it's both universes sitting one behind the other. And I'll get to that in a minute because it's a very telling photo, which we see at the very end as well. And I came to a revelation of what's going on here. So Howard Prime is sitting in a room, an interrogation room, and Quayle walks in and goes, what's going on? And Howard Prime says, you know what? Naya's given us this chance. This room isn't monitored to basically talk about what our options are. And he goes, basically, our options are fucked, is what he says. We have no options whatsoever. And he says, I left a gun in the second stall behind the tank of the men's room. He goes, you have to end this. He goes, end it one way or the other. He goes, I can't cover for you anymore. He goes, I'm done with this. You know what? And you're screwed, is what he says. You and Claire are both screwed at this point. So Quayle Prime goes outside and he sees his tapes are missing. He's going to go and watch the game, and he thinks Carl did it. And Carl pushes him over this chess table, which starts basically this giant riot. And in the confusion, of course, Mira's inside guy ends up cutting off the power and opening up the front doors, letting everybody in, letting Mira's guards in, or army, I should say, in. And they start taking out all the guards to Echo location. And Claire gets a visit from Spencer to her house, which is very odd considering that he gave her a phone saying that he'd call her when everything was done. And he tells her, you know what? He's dead. Lambert's dead. She goes, he goes, but I needed to go and see something. You named your kid Spencer, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's dodging what their next move is supposed to be. And he's talking about the past a lot, which is leading me to believe that he's going to kill her, but it's not. He's basically saying, you know what? We shouldn't be listening to them anymore. We love each other. Hey, baby, let's get together kind of thing. And she's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm tired of them telling me what to do too. And so she and him start screwing. And in the middle of all this, Quayle calls her. He's got a monitored call going on to tell her that he's not going to be in late, or in early, I should say. He's going to be late. And it's really going to be his goodbye because he's going to commit suicide. We kind of figure this at this point. And as soon as he comes out from the phone call, Naya is standing there with some guards. They're going to arrest him, and he makes a run for it. Runs to the bathroom, grabs the gun, and he's got the gun to his head. He's going to shoot himself. And one of the guards finds him and tells him, no, put the gun down. You don't have to do this. and the guard gets shot in the head, and we find out it's his secretary is the other mole. That is so Quayle's secretary, and she says, "I didn't get the call until this morning. You're not supposed to die. You're needed for more stuff. Here's the cover story. We've had an affair for 8 years. I'm Shadow, blah, blah, blah." And she gets shot in the head before she finishes by somebody else that comes into the room. And Quayle gets caught by Naya and the guards. And he tells Naya flat out, he goes, "That's Shadow." Yeah. Quayle did not pull the trigger on the secretary. It was a guard that came running in and saw her with the gun. Yeah. So, man, I mean, talk about a whirlwind kind of thing that's going on at this point. So at this point, Mira is just kind of wandering through Echo Complex. Emily shows up in time to hear gunfire going on down outside, and Ian finally gets a hold of her and says, "Hey, where are you? You know, and I was getting some coffee." And she's like, "I'm at fucking Echo location. Get your ass over here." Yeah, fucking Quayle. You know what? Quayle, I swear to God, is the luckiest son of a bitch on the face. Quayle Alpha. Quayle Prime is the complete opposite. He's the most unlucky son of a bitch. Whereas Quayle Alpha is the one that is the most lucky son of a bitch in the world. So Mira's army gets down to the holding cells and they take over. And Yannick shows up and says, "Oh, you have your mother's eyes." So obviously he knows who Mira is. You know, we'll find out about that in a minute. So Mira's interrogator, the one who sent Howard Alpha to echolocation to begin with and had him swallow the tracker and everything, shoots a guard that shoots him in the back, and he's going to kill him. And Howard Alpha is pleading for the guard's life. And of course the interrogator is not, hearing him. So Howard picks up the gun and shoots the interrogator, kills him. Hits his first kill. So, and as Yannick had said, he goes, every man doesn't realize until they're in survival mode how dark they can actually get, is what he was telling Howard earlier on. And of course, this kind of alludes to it. Yeah, Emily arrives just in time to watch Mira go behind a glass door, a bulletproof door, and sees her and yells out her name and shoots at the door, and of course doesn't get through, and it's locked, so she can't get to her. She finds Howard and says, "Okay, we need to get the hell out of here." And they get up top, and of course her tires are slashed and Mira's gone. And Howard's like, "What now?" And Emily's like, "Fuck if I know." They're basically stuck there at this point. So we go back down and we see them panning across Yannick's pictures. And we see again the picture of the scientists. And then we pan over and we see a picture of Yannick with Mira, Yannick is Mira's father, is where we're at. And that's where we leave off on that episode. So the one other thing I got out of this was, out of the group of scientists that we see, the old black guy who died in two episodes ago, he was one of the scientists he was also management. So all the scientists who were on the original project, they're all management. That's management, is all the scientists who opened up the bridge. So it's a lot of revelation in one fucking episode. Having Mira being Yannick's daughter, Yannick being responsible for or Yannick's double other being responsible for opening up the bridge, having all the scientists who opened up the bridge being management. And I'm going to go out on a limb right now, and I'm going to say Ian is actually the son of the guy that was killed, the management guy that was killed. That's the reason why he has special dispensation. But now that his father is dead, there you go. And I'm going to say that Ian even is actually a product of two worlds. He is a product of Prime and Alpha world. So he is the first, is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to go even further and say that Emily Burton, since we never really met her father, is one of the scientists' daughters as well. There you go. Because we don't have a lot of background on Emily either. So a lot of shit going on this. So Mufinobi says Mira is the daughter of one of the scientists. Maybe it's his daughter also, or maybe not, but clearly she's rebelling and wants to shut it down. No, she's his daughter. Yeah, I mean, he knows who she is. So, and yes, Donald Parrish, I believe that the female scientist in the picture was Mira's mother. And she's also management as well. And that's why she's rebelling against management, because both of her parents are management at this point. It makes sense. I mean, yeah. And also the reason why the one management guy knew who she was, and they had been grooming her for other stuff as well. So obviously they're grooming their kids to take over in their stead is what was going on. So Viking Bitch says if Quayle is constantly being monitored and covered for it, explains how he fails upward. Yeah. He also gets really fucking lucky though too. I mean, really, really lucky. Penn Farm Girl says, but it wouldn't explain him being missed by bullets, luck at gambling, surviving accidents, etc. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is their. So we're, Quail Alpha is really lucky. Quail Prime is very unlucky. Although I'm kind of surprised he didn't get killed in the crossfire of everything that was going on in Echo, considering he was right in the middle of everything. Viking Bitch says, I got the impression that Quail's luck was other people like Mira, who are being directed to cover for him. She was told he is important. Mila, excuse me, his secretary, yeah. No, it's a combination of both. His luck is that people are looking out for him, and then also he's just really lucky as well. He has both. He is really fucking lucky. That's all I'm going to say. Mufinobi says, obsessed and crushing with him as a kid, then is all ready to bang as an adult. That usually would only happen if it was a celebrity poster on her wall. Yeah. Well, the whole thing about that school was they were denied their basically their instincts, and they had to pretend to be their other. So that entire time they were denied all their instincts. They were denied their life, if you will. And her life, she wanted to be with Spencer, and vice versa. And yeah, so those floodgates opened up. Cue all the pictures of, flower petals opening, trains going into tunnels, rockets taking off, all that kind of stuff to signify that kind of double entendre, if you will. Mufinobi says he didn't know Claire was on the Spencer love train. It can't last. Her daughter would need endless therapy growing up with the same name. Yeah, that's going to be a weird one. And honestly, man, that Claire is still alive. I'm really kind of surprised. I thought she was gonna die in this one. I really did. Yeah, I really, really did. Movie says management may be made up of all the original scientists and others, or just the dominant ones. Maybe grew to include their kids, or maybe not. But yeah, I believe it's all the original scientists, because they would be the ones that are arrogant enough to think that since they were the ones that discovered it, they were the ones that are in charge of it, in charge of how it's being used, not the governments of the world, just them. I would say that they would be the most arrogant ones to do that. That's what I think of on that. Penn Farm Girl says, nope, I'm sorry. Yeah, Viking Bitch. Quail is very, very lucky, but really fucking stupid. We could see how stupid he is by looking at his prime. His prime version, granted, was taken as a kid and not really taught anything else. He's kind of arrested at a teen stage. So he's really kind of stupid, but also he's just stupid in general. Yeah, Agent Future. I really thought Spencer was going to kill Claire because he kept dodging questions and was turning things to the past, which is usually what someone does before they kill you. Because he's also talking about, if they're taking care of everything and are erasing all the mistakes. So I was pretty sure that's where they were going with it as well. So, Pen Farm Girl says, I disagree, Fanobi. Look at people hooking up with high school crushes they reunite with on social media. Yeah. Man, yeah, she had it bad for Spencer and vice versa. And yeah, once they said, screw it, all our training's out the window. And yeah, it was on at that point. That's all they needed to say was, you know what? Fuck the rules. Get over here. That's pretty much what it went to. But yeah, really good episode. Like I said, a lot of revelation, which really kind of worries me because now it seems like they're rushing things, and this is only episode 5. And it seems like they're just kind of rushing things, and I don't know if they're going to an end, or if they're going to have another season. I don't know if they see writing on the wall that we don't and are just kind of rushing things. I'm really hoping that's not the case. Oh, man. Mufinobi says, what's interesting is that they said discovered another world, but Mira did say to end the experiment. Yeah, Yannick actually went back and said that his other was the one that opened up the gate. So we see this. I don't know if everyone saw the trailer for next week's episode, but we actually get to see, we go flashback to when everything happened. That when the passageway opens up, the crossing opens up, and who discovers it and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be very, very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Howard, Viking Bitch says, Howard is not as good at impersonating his other as he thinks. I don't think it's that he's not good at impersonating his other. I think he's just very impatient and gives zero fucks. So he is now on the lines of like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to be, this ruse. I need to get shit done, and doesn't care about how he does it. He's very impulsive and very, he's blunt. He's the hammer is what he is. He's not the glove, as they say. There's a glove and a hammer. And he is definitely not the glove. Slurmy Scott says, I am back. No, I'm not crying. Just been chopping onions. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Spencer for hire. Yeah, I don't think she needed to hire him there, Fanobi. I think he was in it for free. Get it? In it for free. There we go. I'll be here all week. Viking Bitch says, I was really hoping the reveal of other universes. If Starz cancels this, they are fucking morons. Yeah, I agree. And if they do cancel it, all Amazon needs to do is just take this shit over, and they have another hit on their hands right then and there. So that's all they need to do. Mufino, he says, I know this is wrong, but Claire had 2 Spencers on the milk truck that day. Oh, man. Man, you need a timeout for that one. I would blame it on the drugs, but it's too far along, at this point. So I'm just going to say you get a timeout on that one. Mufinobi says, I recognize that actor playing younger Yannick also. He's played some side roles in some older sci-fi shows. He was also one of the main characters in Hell on Wheels. He was the Swede. So one of my favorite actors, as a matter of fact. He was also in Frontier most recently as well. He popped up in that as well. And on Travelers, this last season of Travelers on Netflix, where he showed up as a traveler that popped into a body of a serial killer who was a cannibal. There you go. So, which is kind of funny because I believe in Hell on Wheels, at one point his character resorts to cannibalism as well. So there's a little bit of synergy there. Slurmy Scott says, Penn, I've been dealing. I'm not even gonna. You're cooking. That's good. Viking Bitch says, what do you think they're gonna do with Yannick now? Well, Mira needs Yannick in order to end the experiment. As Yannick was telling Howard, and I forgot to mention this, that their 2 worlds are at war, and anybody who thinks differently is a fool. And that's what Mira believes as well, that Mira believes their worlds are at war, and that one is going to end the other is what needs to happen. And I believe when Spencer said this is all going to be over within a couple of days, that's their whole plan too, is to destroy Alpha, the Alpha universe, if you will, which is really kind of fucked up. Yeah, Stanley Tweedle, anonymous content should start their own channel. Yeah, they could add those things in there too, but they wouldn't be all that. It'd be kind of hard to do that interaction. I mean, the blackjack, yeah, you could do the interaction online, but the hookers, I don't know about that's going to be able to happen. Yeah, Ian, or Wesley, as he is now known, is so screwed. And without his father there to cover his ass anymore, well, I should say his father's other to cover his ass in the Prime universe, he's pretty much screwed. But I still think that Emily is the daughter of one of the management team. That's all I'm going to say. She's had way too much leeway. There's stuff that she's done in the first season and in this season that other people, if they had done it, would have already been taken off to the Echo site at this point or killed. And she hasn't. She's been given a lot of leeway and even been promoted at this point. So obviously someone knows her. Yeah. So with that said, really damn good episode. Can't wait for next week when we get the reveal of the universes. If you like what you see here, click on the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. You're going to see some little stuff floating around over here as to videos you can watch on my channel, and also a subscribe button over in this area over here. Please click on both. Also hit the notification bell if you want to see when I'm going to be on, because that'll help as well. And I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as well. And I have a website, suspendedfanimation.com. And I'm getting my scheduling together at this point in time. So, and future, when are we doing Future Man this afternoon is what Slurmy Scott says. We are going to be doing Future Man. I'm going to have to move it back a little bit. I'm doing a little car shopping at the moment. We're going to do Future Man this afternoon at 5 p.m. Excuse me, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there we go. And that is going to be episode 11. There we go. I had to think about what that was. Was that episode 11 or episode? Let me take a quick peek at my notes and I can tell you. Episode 12 actually is what we're going to do. Episode 11 was Beyond Beyond Truffle Dome. So we are actually going to be doing episode 12 today at 5 p.m. Yes, we're almost done with season 1. We have 2 more episodes left, 12 and 13. And then after that, season 2 drops on the 11th, and I'll be doing that. That's too late for you. I'm sorry, Stanley. Yeah, unfortunately, I need to go and see a man about a car. So other than that, yes, I have been updating video click areas. I've been learning little by little. I only got so much time of the day, and I've got to split it between different things. And like I said, I got a demanding little dog over here that's, well, she's asleep now, which is good. Takes her a little while to get out of there. So don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that your family is part of management. Good night, everybody.